Okay, hey everyone, this is Danny. You guys might know me as Market Watch Danny over on Kirby Knight's YouTube channel. I typically post on Twitter about Market Watch stuff, and I was going to make another thread about some of these cards, but then there's a lot of cards, and it would be too big of a thread to do that, so I just thought I would make a really quick video about this. So pretty much over here is just the expected new promo pack that we're going to get over in English. Over here we're getting reprints of the Drag Resonance, we're getting a reprint of the Hero Base, and then Cadwalla as well, but these are also the new cards over here. Just to go over them really quick, this is just a new Orphis order. It's a grade 1 world order, notably. Over here we have a new Bastion and Alden support. This is mainly kind of just like extra shield and a restander. This right here is for Granfia, I guess. Here we have a Dark States generic card. This has been seeing a lot of hype recently, or not really recently, but like there are people on Twitter that, you know, are really excited for this card and its application in just all Dark States decks. And then we have a new B Hero base, and then finally a Hazoret card. So with those cards there are a couple of cards that people should probably watch out for. So the first one is probably just Orphis in general. So people are kind of tiptoeing between either playing Orphis Mass or Orphis Regis. Mass here only has the one printing from BT12, and if we click on here real quick, we can see here that even though it showed up as $4 or $5, we see here it's mainly around 6 if you count shipping as well. There are still a few copies left, but for the most part this card right here is probably something that people need to keep an eye out, because it's either this or people can play either Regis here. Now Regis also, if we look here, has very low listings as well. It's only 6 listings here for the Fez collection one, and only 5 for the trial deck that it came in with. And yeah, they're both relatively cheap as well, but you know, once these cheap copies are gone, you know, sellers could probably just list them for more. And I don't know if I put it up here, but the Cyber Kaital is also the Mass Searcher. Now the Mass Searcher, if you're playing with Orphis Mass in particular, it also only has the one printing, and as we can see here, it's pretty much about $4 to $5. You only really play this as like a 2 to 3 of, but even then, like, it's just something that without an additional printing, any sort of mass deck in the future is gonna pretty much want to play a guaranteed way of searching mass. And so that's something that you should also look for in terms of what to play in Orphis. Another thing too is a lot of times we see that double rares go up in price, especially when people don't really, how you say, they don't really think too much about it. So this is Delcomanus. It just came out in the set 8. And then if we go here to see what it does, it pretty much just discards a world order from your deck and it gets 2k. And then if it's in the drop, you can Energy Blast 2 and bind it to call out a Shadow Army token. So if you call over this with the Shadow Army token, it doesn't necessarily go to waste. This card, even for a double rare, is pretty cheap. There's a lot of copies here on the market, but it's just something that people should keep out an eye for, especially if you do plan to play Orphis. So then, in terms of the world order, while we are getting the new grade 1 one, another one that people need to look out for is Halloween Moonlit Night. This one's also played in the Bat deck, so that also explains why it is up. But essentially, there's only 7 listings here, 6 listings, 250. That's not right. More like, yeah, it's more closer to like $8 or so. Yeah, so then for the holo, but it doesn't really have that many additional printings here as well. It's probably just one of the more generically better world orders, just being able a raw card. So something that people should look for. I did mention this earlier on my Twitter that some people liked that Bastion of Court is still roughly like expensive for some reason. Like if we go down here, it's roughly $15 for each one. And Bastion did get a reprint in terms of its promo card in the latest festival collection, but overall, like if you are going to be playing Bastion, most people would probably want this as their primary Vanguard. They don't really would want to play Prime, maybe just use it as like a discard target for the Accord, but for the most part this is probably the main Vanguard, and with it also from BT12. And there are a couple of listings here as well, but if you do plan to play Bastion, it's something to keep an eye out for. And especially with Toya back in the anime as well, that's just, you know, we might actually get either a new Bastion or maybe he just gets additional support. So we'll see about that. In terms of additional Bastion cards here, we also have Grander Edge here. It's pretty much just helps out with the ride line, being able to reveal it, and then also just being additional shield. Unless Bastion gets even more shield, then this card's probably just always going to see additional play, just because you are a grade 3 deck, you are low on shield, so anything can help. So it's only the one printing here, about $4, but more so around $5. And looks like it quickly goes up to around $8 or so. And you know, shield's a hot commodity, especially in Vanguard nowadays. You really want to be able to guard early. You do not want to go to high damage against a lot of these decks like Regilla or Bob Sagra. Because of the new hero and stuff from the latest set, as well as the promo, you also have Unite Danos. Now, Unite Danos, as you can see, only has 4 listings. And it's roughly, you can get one playset for about $40, but after this one playset, it's pretty much gone from the market outside of the FFR. So if you are planning to play heroes, it's going to be really difficult if you have to go to just TCG player for this. So let's move on. And then we have an additional hero support here in Direct Forial. This is essentially a column swapper, so it gives you multi-attack. And as we can look here, there are a lot of listings here still, but it's around $5, $6, I would say. And for the most part, if you are planning to play heroes, this is something that you also need to keep an eye out for, because it's effectively is their multi-attack, and with also the one printing from the same set as, you know, Unite Danos, it's going to be really difficult to find a spot for this to be printed. I could maybe see it printed as like a reprint, but that's kind of unlikely. And we just had our festival collection, so a lot of these cards that we are looking at, they don't really have an ideal place to be reprinted in. Grand Fia, I didn't even bother looking up any additional cards. A lot of the Grand Fia cards are pretty cheap, I guess, outside of like maybe Rosarium Fairy, but that's mainly because of Leonorn. Hazret did get an additional support here, and what's interesting is that if we look here, it's from the festival booster from 3 years ago. So it is Herminia and Hazret support, but we only have 3 listings and not even a full playset. So if you ever want to play any of these cards, it's going to be really difficult to just get your hands on this card. If we look here, it's just CB1, draw 1, and if your soul has no cards, 10k. I'm not too sure how relevant it is, because I don't really play against these decks or have them, but there's effectively just no more on the market, so I don't even know what else to really talk about here. And then finally, on the topic of Hazret still, we also have its original triple rare in Clanfield right here. It just tutors out, you know, anything that you want for the Hazret powers, either 12k or less, 9k or less, or 7k or less. As we look here, it's pretty much just about $7 or so, but I don't even know if this deck per se will see any additional play. Maybe with some, you know, with the promo, we'll see it picked up for, you know, locals, but for the most part, as a meta contender, it's not really something that people should look out for. But if you are interested into playing the deck, you know, because we are getting these new promos, it's just additional eyes on these cards. So that's pretty much it. This was gonna be a Twitter thread, and I usually just post my like market watch thoughts on there, so you can just go find me on Twitter for like Dino and Scholar. But yeah, this would have been too long as a thread, so that's why I made this quick video, and we'll see if I continue making them or not. Bye.